All right, hey dude, I'm here at the drive-in and I'm really rushed right now because I gave myself very little time. I left way too late. Previews are on. I'm just gonna do a real quick intro. I would like to title tonight's trip to the drive-in as Bad Movie Theater. Yeah, I'm here. Well, I'm here for the simple fact that I still want to watch all these Jurassic Park movies. And I've even trashed like the last three of them because they're not good. But I cannot not come here and watch this movie. So that's my long way of saying tonight's movies are going to be the new Jurassic World movie, Jurassic World Dominion. And then the second movie is gonna get even worse. Do we remember back in the 80s when Drew Barrymore broke out of that E.T. role and she was in her first starring role, which was Firestarter. They remade that movie, and it's getting even a lower score than this Jurassic World movie is. It's getting a low 16%. But I have a very morbid curiosity about this movie, so I am definitely in for both of these movies. I'm going to watch them, and I'll be right back in just a few seconds to let you know what I think about Jurassic World. All right, I'll see you in a few seconds. Bye. Hey guys, I just got done watching a movie. The last time that we got to visit this universe, we got this really nicely written speech from Ian McKellen, played by Jeff Goldblum. In that speech, he basically said, we're entering a new era, the era of Jurassic World. All right, so we left that universe, that instance, where dinosaurs were becoming more integrated into the normal society, into the environment. So how are the humans faring against these dinosaurs as this movie picks up? Pretty well. It takes the dinosaur from like being this kind of scientific marvel into kind of like just more of a environmental obstacle. This movie seemed to operate on two different levels. There were two different story arcs going on at the same time. We had the old cast from the original trilogy that were interacting with each other. So we have Ian McKellen played by Jeff Goldblum. We have Sam Neill and Laura Dern reprising their roles as well. And we got kind of their side of the main plot. And then we had the Chris Pratt and, Dallas Howard? Dallas. I think her name is Dallas Bryce Howard. We have Chris Pratt and her, and their adopted child, the clone that we met in the last movie. You guys remember my review of the last movie? I mean, it wasn't exactly glowing, but it definitely. I tried my best not to just kind of dismiss it. So I kind of gave it like a middle of the road score. That's exactly where I'm going with this review. The plot. In every single movie that we've seen, we've always had that, like, mad scientist. So we had to have that mad scientist here. And it was, like, played by this guy I recognized from some kind of ghost of some sitcom back in the 80s. Maybe Wings, I don't know. But it was played by this guy over here. So to establish that this guy was a mad scientist, we have to have this plot to kind of drive the story along where he creates, with this dino bioscience that they have been developing and trying to capitalize on, he created these like really large like locust, or it was some kind of insect. So they were eating the wheat and grain, and that was going to upset the balance of the food chain and eventually make it down to us. So it would make it very hard for us to survive. Was it good? It was okay. I don't think it really deserves the 30% that it's getting. But but I did see some stuff that didn't exactly hit the mark for me. I mean, first off, like I said, we had two different stories going on at the same time. So, like, we had a lot of characters on this in this movie. We had a lot of chess pieces on this board here. So, we really didn't get to pay attention to get invested in any single one of them. And all, it wasn't the worst movie in the world. It was definitely an end cap to end this trilogy. You could tell that they were bringing the old with the new, and they're trying to combine them together and give us like an ending to this 6-movie franchise. But they definitely also left it open if they want to go ahead and reopen that box. I didn't think it was 30%. It was definitely worth a watch. I would definitely give it maybe a 65. I enjoyed it 65%. Would I watch it again? Probably not. Did I hate myself for watching it the first time? No, not really. I did enjoy it, but it was. I'd totally recommend renting it. If you had seen the other two films and you want to, see the conclusion of this franchise, definitely give it a watch. But don't rush out and see it in the theater. Definitely stay at home. So 65% is the best I'm going to give this movie. I'm going to move on. Oh, wow, I'm getting hot. I didn't make it to the concession stand because I gave myself so little time. So I'm going to go ahead and make it over there. And then I'm going to be right back to see if the critics and the audience have graded were truthful about Firestarter, or they were just being cruel, because I'm morbidly curious to see how bad this movie is. So in just a few seconds, I'll be right back to let you know what I think about Firestarter. All right, see ya. Bye.
2 minutes to go to the snack bar for a quick refresher.
I gotta be quick as a bunny and do this because I don't want to look weird. I'm like one of 3 cards left. It's raining out. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great movie. So like a lot of people noped out this thing. So I don't want to look weird. But I do want to talk about this movie. I don't know. Let's talk about young Scott. When I say young Scott, I mean in my later 30s, maybe early 40s. I remember waiting in a lot of waiting rooms and reading a lot of Stephen King novels. One of them was Firestarter, and I remember reading this, but God, that was like, 20 years ago? I remember bits and pieces of that story, right? So I'm like watching this movie, and like there are bits and pieces that are taken from a book, if I'm remembering correctly. But then again, they retooled a couple other things that I'm not sure I agree with. And they kind of rewrote the beginning. I think they wanted to make it a little quicker to get to the meat of the story. And they had their parents together. Now, in the book, if I remember correctly, and even the Drew Barrymore version of this story, it was told mostly in flashback. It was dad and daughter on the run from this unknown organization. And halfway through the book, they get captured, and halfway, or throughout the other end of the book, daughter gets to be studied by these scientists, and then eventually explodes. Spoiler alert. But, so that's the way that book ended. And there was some really cool scenes that I remember from that book, like, the one that was included in this movie where there was a kind of psychologist or professor study of psychology that kind of predicted that she could go nuclear. Anything could happen, and that's what his point was. And that's kind of the point of the whole book, because at the end she kind of destroys the whole facility, the Science Institute that was studying her, in a glorious fashion. It was a really satisfying ending to that story. Unfortunately, that does not share in this movie. Like I said, they retooled the story a little bit, and they told it differently. Mom was more in the picture. I really dug that they kind of kept the Native American aspect of the kind of like stoic assassin of the movie. He was really, he was about the best part of this movie. And I really dug his character in the book and then also this version of the movie. Everything else, it was, like I said, uneven. I don't think 16% or 13% or whatever it was on Rotten Tomatoes was really earned. But there was a better story that was told in even in previous versions of this movie. This story did not need to be told again. I would give, for effort, I'd give it 25. They really did. They were giving honest effort. They really did kind of rewrite and kind of try to give us their version of this story. It just didn't work. It was very awkward. There were really poorly written scenes. I'd give it a 25. 25%. Yeah, some of the special effects are even kind of shoddy. And it was made, you can tell, it was a Blumhouse movie, which for independent horror films, is that the only name that we've been seeing so far? Because they are putting out a ton of stuff, and it's hit or miss. They've put out some good stuff before. These, unfortunately, are big misses for these guys. But hey, whatever. Hey, I gotta get out of here before somebody comes up to my car and asks me if I'm okay. Oh, hey, Lost World, Dominion. It was just stretched out too thin. There were too many characters, and they tried to give it equal time. I think that movie would have benefited if it focused on Chris Pratt, the Howard girl, and their adopted daughter. I thought that was the most compelling part of that story, and I would have liked to see more of that than having our plot stretched thin. I gave it a 65%. It was worth watching if you had invested your time in the other two movies. As far as Firestarter, go home and watch the 1980 or 86 version, 85 version of that movie. Even though they have George C. Scott playing the big bad guy in that movie, and it was totally out of character from the book. It was a better movie. It had a better conclusion to that movie, and it followed the book a little closer than this one. And not to, I don't want to be a book snob because I'm not. I haven't read a book in like years now, but it was better executed. It was a better movie. It was better written. So watch that version instead. I gave it 25% to this version because I could tell that a lot of heart went into this movie. It just didn't pay off for them. All right, hey guys, I'm out of here. I'm waiting for somebody to tap on my window. I gotta go. You can tell I'm a nervous wreck. All right. Until next time. Hey, peace. Matane. I'll talk to you guys later. And goodbye. All right.